In this video, I'm going to give you a full steps A to Z walkthrough on the Keepa Amazon FBA product research software, fully updated for 2025. You're going to use Keepa every single day as an Amazon seller, and it's absolutely crucial to master Keepa to avoid mistakes and find more winning products fast. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Miles. I'm a 26-year-old full-time Amazon seller on a mission to help you guys build a business or side hustle of your dreams this year. Let's jump right into the full Keepa tutorial for 2025. All right, guys, so we're here inside my screen where we're going to be doing Amazon FBA product research. I primarily talk about finding discounted products and flipping them for a profit. And what Keepa does is it shows us the price history and demand history over time, so we can actually decipher if a product's been good over time, not just profitable today, because that would suck to buy a product that's good today but hasn't been good over time. Keepa costs $20 per month, and you can just go ahead and get it installed on Keepa.com. And then what you want to do is actually go ahead and go to the Google Chrome store and install it into your Chrome browser. So now it actually goes ahead and embeds on your Amazon product page right here. So when you initially get Keepa, it's going to show three charts just like this. The top chart is going to show the demand and the price action over time. The middle chart is completely useless in my opinion. I would recommend clicking the sub ranks button right here so you can actually go ahead and take out that middle chart. And then the bottom chart is going to show the supply, aka the competition over time. So the top chart shows the price and the demand, and then the bottom chart shows the supply over time. Now, the cool thing about Keepa is it actually shows how well a product sold ever since it was added on Amazon. So literally, which could be years ago. Like this specific item was added on Amazon like 312 days ago, so just about a year ago. But some items, you can literally see how they've been selling for years on Amazon. You can see how the demands change. I'm going to show you guys a ton of different examples in this video, so that's why it's really important that you watch through the entire thing and ask any questions down below in the comments. Typically, when you're a beginner, though, you want to focus on the 3-month data right here so we can see how this item's been selling over time. Now, we can see there's a bunch of different lines going on. So what I'm actually going to do is click off all of these and show you guys which ones you actually want to go ahead and have on, because that's a big mistake I see a lot of beginners make in the actual setup process. So to start out, you do want to have the sales rank selected right here, the green line, right? So the sales rank is how fast a product sells, and the lower the sales rank, the better. So a 10K sales rank sells better than a 50K sales rank, which sells better than a 200K sales rank, so on and so forth. When you're a beginner, you primarily want to look for items below a 200K rank, right? And then you also want to have the buy box selected right here, which is this pink line, just shows the price over time, right? So we can see how the price can change, right? And the buy box is basically this buy it now option right here on Amazon. This is where we want to be as Amazon sellers. Luckily, the buy box rotates to everyone that's priced competitively and has good delivery dates and actually has their inventory in stock at Amazon FBA in 2025, right? So we can see how the price changes over time. I would also recommend having when Amazon's in stock selected, so you can actually see when Amazon's in stock right here, which we can see is a brief point. Amazon hasn't been in stock on this item much. We can see this is just a reseller item right here. I'd also recommend having this new selected right here, which is the lowest price regardless of fulfillment type. So there's FBA, which is what we're primarily talking about, where you ship off in bulk to the FBA warehouse. And then there's also FBM. For the most part, though, don't really worry about the FBM prices, though. You just automatically have to have this new one on. And then I also like having the third-party FBA selected right here as well, which is these orange triangles. These orange triangles do not necessarily mean a sale happened. It means a change in the lowest third-party FBA price. And I just see it as a rule of thumb, like the more orange triangles you see, the better something's moving. You could also select here for the lowest third-party FBM. I don't recommend having that on. I just recommend copying these right here. And then the bottom chart, I'd recommend going ahead and clicking the new offer count right here and then not really worrying about ratings or reviews, although it doesn't hurt to have that selected. I don't, though. I don't recommend it. But if you take a look at the review count, we can see the review count on this listing is consistently going up, which does validate that this item sells, but the sales rank's much more important here. So in terms of what to actually look for on the Keepa chart, we want to make sure that the competition's not shooting up. Now, I am going to show you guys an example of what that looks like in a sec here, but we can see this item, the competition's nicely going down. It's honestly been pretty stable the past month or so. We also want to make sure that the sales rank's been good over time, which we can see in this case. Sure, it's going, the sales rank's going up a little bit, which means the demand's going down, but it makes sense that a hoodie would be selling super well during winter, right? And then we can see the price is nice and steady too, right? So we want to make sure the competition's either stable or going down. This case, really stable. And we want to make sure the price is either stable or going up, which we can see in this case, it's pretty stable and even starting to trend up a little bit right there as well, right? And then we can see the demand over time, right? Literally ever since a product was added on Amazon, and it makes perfect sense that this item being a hoodie, that the demand is worse during the summer. However, as a newer seller, it's really important to note that items are typically a lot less seasonal than you think they are, right? And that like there's a lot of hoodies that still sell well during the winter, right? This item just didn't have any sellers, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just harder to gauge the demand. But there's lots of slide listings that sell well in the winter, even though they're technically not in season, but the sales rank's good and data doesn't lie, guys. It doesn't matter what you think will sell well. It's all about what the data actually shows here, right? So we can see a Keepa chart. We're also going to show a bunch of different examples of, seasonal types of products, bad products, good products, IP complaints. So stick through this whole thing. The next tab I really like on Keepa, this is a little bit more advanced, but it is really, really helpful, is going to be the track product section. So say you're profitable at like a $50 price point on this item, but you aren't profitable at 40. For example, we can see it was $50 plus for a while right here, or 45 plus for a while, right? I could go ahead and set up within Keepa to actually get an email notification for this when this item actually becomes good here. So say I want to get notified via email when this item goes to 45 plus right here, or when Amazon goes out of stock, or when the lowest price is different, right? Typically, you'd want to do it based on buy box price. I could just go here and hit start tracking. And then if this item ever comes up to where I become profitable again, it's a huge mistake beginners make is not doing this. I'll go ahead and get an email notification of that as well. The next tab on Keepa I really, really like is going to be the data tab right here, which is going to show a bunch of different product averages. I wouldn't really recommend looking too much at this left side, although there is some helpful data in here. What you primarily want to look at on this page, guys, is going to be the averages on like a 90-day basis for the sales rank, as well as the review count, as well as the buy box price, especially, right? Because if you're, profitable 50% plus of the past 90 days and profitable a good majority of the past 30 days, that's probably a good product you want to go ahead and take a look at, guys. And if you want to see me find a bunch of winning products live and show you guys how to do all this stuff in detail, make sure you guys check out my free course after this. It's 8 hours. It's live here on YouTube. There's full timestamps. There's multiple hours of live product research. If you guys are watching this Keepa tutorial, you're clearly very serious about the stuff. Check out the free course after here. That'll be really, really helpful, guys. It's linked in the description, right? So this data tab on Keepa is really helpful for seeing data product details here. We can see all the different averages over time for a specific item right here, right? We can also see if Amazon was in stock. The primary ones you want to look at are sales rank to make sure that checks out over time, as well as buy box price. Honestly, though, I do get a majority of that data from the price history just in the Keepa charts right there as well. Now, the data offers tab right here. So all of these columns you see in Keepa for like some of the other features we'll take a look at, I do have them rearranged. I'd recommend copying the settings I have here. I'm not a huge fan of this sold 30 days data on Keepa. I think it is largely inaccurate. Something like this probably is pretty accurate right here. However, all the time you'll see sellers where it says they've had one forever, but they're priced competitively on listings that sell quick. And those are examples of where people are hiding their stock count using what's called max order quantities. So I would definitely not recommend looking at the sold 30-day data right here. I think it's inaccurate. The only times I would take a look at the offers tab right here is to just see when people were first seen on a listing, to see like how long they've been on it. It's like this seller's been on it for, 3 months and 2 months. That helps validate a product, especially when there's sellers that have been on it, 6+ months right there as well. So I don't really look at the data offers tab, honestly. The buy box statistics right here, I'm a huge fan of. You definitely want to organize your columns similar to mine here. And what the buy box statistics allows us to do is it allows us to see over a 30 or 90 or 180. You primarily want to look at a 90-day basis, right? Who's getting the buy box the most, who's getting it at the highest prices, and who's getting it the most recently, and what fulfillment type those sellers are using, right? And so what I'll do here is I'll rock and roll in here and filter top to bottom to see who's won it the most. So this seller's won it 22% of the past 90 days here, right, at a $54 average price. So we could go to the 30-day right here and we can see, yeah, this seller's gotten 37% of it over the past 30 days at a $40 average price. But This seller's gotten it 18% of the time at a $42 price point, right? And so you could also go ahead here and click to filter, see who's won it the most expensive prices. So 29 days ago was the most expensive seller at 46 bucks average right here. And then in terms of actually pricing your products as an Amazon seller, I'll go here and filter to see who's won it most recently, right? And we can see in the past 4 hours, someone's won it at 44 and then someone's won it at 40, right? So this seller is getting like $4 extra in profit per sale right here, which is why it's really, really important to take a look at this right here as well. Because all the time on the Keepa chart, you'll see times when the price could be different, literally same day right here as well. And that seller at 41, but then the seller, that same seller repriced up. So this seller caught some extra profit right here, going from 41 or going from 39.50 up to 41 right there as well. So the buy box stats is really, really helpful for going ahead and seeing typically who's winning the buy box the most and at what price point, and who's won it most recently, clicking here and going to last one. What I also look for if I'm looking to merchant fulfill a specific product is if there's sellers in the buy box statistics that are getting buy box share merch filled, which basically means sellers that do not have this FBA check mark. So we can see this item super FBM friendly, although not every item is FBM friendly. Pretty much every item is going to be FBA friendly though, right? So you don't have to worry about seeing people FBAing a listing. If there's sellers FBMing it and there's only people FBMing it, you can actually price a lot higher if you were to sell that item via Amazon FBA. But in order to validate if you can merchant fulfill a product, you do always need to take a look at the buy box statistics. And as a good rule of thumb, you want to make sure that there's sellers getting 20% plus total of the buy box share going to FBM sellers, which we can see in this case, like 99% of the buy box shares going FBM on this listing, which typically just means there aren't any sellers FBAing this product or at least priced competitively on that. To go along with Keepa, you also want to be using SellerAmp too, which is the profit calculator and tool you actually use to find these winning products. I have a full SellerAmp tutorial on my channel too, you guys should check out as well. We're obviously talking about Keepa here, but the buy box statistics is an incredibly helpful tool you guys need to be taking a look at right there. And you do want to organize your columns similar to mine here. We can see we drive these guys around right here as well. Don't worry about the buy box use statistics right here. The next tab is going to be for listings that have variations, different colors, different sizes, like we can see this item, for example, right here. Now, very, very few people actually take the time to learn to read the variations tab correctly. And the way you're going to do that, guys, is you have to make sure you organize your column similar to mine. It's super easy. It takes 2 seconds here. But now, right, I get asked all the time, how do you tell, what color or size is best, right? It's just the most common ones? No. It's all based on data. Now, typically, a size medium is going to sell better than a size 3XL, right? But you actually need to take a look at the data here and make sure that you're seeing listings that have good offer count movement. So like, for example, this item is very blocky. This item is not selling quick, right? But this item has a good amount of activity. This item is moving, right? And so what you're looking for to make sure something's selling quick on a variation listing is going to be primarily based on the offer count movement, because the sales rank does not change between variations, but the Keepa chart does. And this is a small indicator of the Keepa chart, the bottom, the offer count, right? And we can see how fast it's moving to go ahead and gauge that right here. So when I'm gauging variations, I'm going to the variations tab. I'm filtering top to bottom by buy box or by reviews, or by the lowest to see listings that do not have a buy box, which you do not want to automatically avoid. A lot of newer sellers automatically avoid listings that don't have a buy box. Do not do that, right? Listings without a buy box can totally make money if you can see good offer count movement in here, right? So we can take a look at that and see those are nicely moving here, even though it doesn't have a buy box and it only has 2 reviews. Another thing, new sellers get really caught up in review count. Do not worry about review count. Take a look at the offer count here. And the way you're going to do that is by gauging and taking a look here on the variations tab in Keepa right there. So that's the end of like the formal Keepa chart section. Now I want to show you guys red flags you need to avoid, green flags you want to take a look at, and the overall seasonality of different products. So let's jump on to example number 2. So taking a look here, guys, we can see 900 reviews on this product, pretty much totally sells super quick. SellerAmp shows it's a 36K rank as well. So we know this item does well. The interesting thing, though, is this is a football, right? And I'm filming this in January. So it would make sense that demand for a product like this would peak in August and September And the cool thing is, this item's literally been around for like 10 years, 10 plus years on Amazon. And if we take a look at the year long on this product, we can see, last winter was like a 30K rank, and last spring it's like a 20K rank, right? But then in, July, August, September, it goes down to like a 9 or 10K rank, right? So that shows the natural seasonality of different products and how demand can change throughout the year, and how that can potentially affect price action too, right? This item, for example, was super, super stable all the time. So this actually is an example of how demand changing affected price, right? But certain markets that are a little bit more inefficient, the demand can skyrocket, like Valentine's Day products during February, right? And that can be a great time to sell those products when the prices are nicely inflated. Other times, crazy world events can affect products like nuts too. Like this pool, for example, right? Check this out. This is absolutely insane. So if we come down here on this item, we can see it's currently going for like $350 right here. It actually looks like a pretty slow moving Keepa chart, honestly. It appears as though the sales rank is caused to be so low by probably some other variations moving super well. However, if we go ahead and take a look at the all-time history on this product, there were some pretty crazy world events in 2020, which caused, a lot of people to not want to go to their local pool. Let's take a look at how that actually affected the price action here. So we can see, before what happened in 2020 started, it was going for right around like $300 here. And then that happens, and look at pretty quickly how in March 2020, it goes from $280, $300 to summer of 2020, literally selling for almost $2,000, right? So the cool thing is we can actually literally zoom in on Keepa and take a look at a specific example here. And we can see the demand went so crazy that even though the competition, did go up, these literally were still over $1,000. And this is selling for $350 right now. And we can see, guys, literally see how every year during the summer, the sales rank plummets, aka the demand skyrockets right here. And we can see even in 2021, this is still selling for $900. And then in 2022, still went up to like 700. Honestly, that buy box price, right? And then it mellowed out a little bit more too. But it's very, very interesting and cool to see how the seasonality of different products happens. Like I said, though, most items aren't super seasonal. The ones that are super seasonal is like, Thanksgiving plates that you really only need once a year, right? New Year's Day, holiday gear, stuff like that. But we can see some items that still do sell well all year. A 75K rank in the winter is totally cool, on this pool, right? They do skyrocket in demand during their main seasonal period, and we can see that based on how the sales ranks reflected right here as well. So as you're coming into a different season, right, like you do only want to focus on what's profitable today. Don't buy and hold, don't speculate, but you do have seasonality in the back of your mind, and we can see it can totally change things, especially based on world events. Like the chlorine market went absolutely insane back then too, right? Weights, home gym gear, all different types of stuff like that. Like 2 years, for whatever reason, the hot sauce and sriracha market popped off. And that's why it's in tune to be just kind of keeping up with trends, right? Stanley Cups have been incredible the past couple of years. And that's like a big, TikTok product and everything. And the cool thing is, don't worry about emotions. Just focus on what the Keepa chart data is showing you. All right, guys. So I get asked all the time, should you compete on listings that Amazon's selling on? And the answer is sometimes. And the decision over that is going to lie in the Keepa chart data. So if we scroll down here and take a look at this item, we can see there's great offer count movement on this product. People are selling out. People are restocking. This is a nice, healthy market. And we can see even when Amazon's in stock here, guys, there's still nice offer count, which shows on this specific listing, Amazon's totally sharing the buy box, right? So if we take a look at the year-long data here, we can see Amazon was in stock for a while here, and we can see how there's different names showing in the buy box here. It's like Amazon, the third-party seller, Amazon, and the third-party seller. The offer count's still nicely moving. We can see Amazon is giving buy box share up on this item. However, if you see a listing that has that orange Amazon in stock and the offer count is super blocky and straight, that shows that Amazon isn't sharing the buy box on that product. So you should only compete with Amazon if you can see other people getting sales on that listing, which comes from the offer count movement, right? And you shouldn't compete with Amazon if it's ugly and blocky right there, right? And we can further validate that too by going here and hitting data and then BuyBoxStatistics right here, and then seeing how much buy box share Amazon's given up. So like, for example, the past 90 days, Amazon's only gotten 7% of the buy box share, right? Over the past year, Amazon's gotten 56% of it, right? And obviously it's relative to volume, but the main determinant that shows me that is going to be the offer count movement, and that I can see on this specific item, a ton of third-party sellers have made money on this product because they haven't dropped their price and they've sold out. The offer count's gone down right there, which is great validation that this is something we should consider pursuing, right? So don't automatically, avoid stuff that Amazon's on. If there's good offer count movement, it's something you want to look into testing. All right, major red flag you need to avoid on different Keepa charts is when you can see an IP complaint, which stands for an intellectual property complaint. When, we're very blessed to be able to do the reselling model on Amazon, reselling other brands' products. However, you want to make sure you avoid listings where you can see in the past that the brand owner, like the IP owner or the trademark owner, has kicked people off the listing. And the way you're going to go ahead and do that is if we take a look down here at the Keepa chart on this product, we can see largely here, this listing's been on Amazon for 6, 7, 8 years. There's good offer count movement, right? But if we scroll in on the last year here, we can see it was nicely humming along back in March and April, and then it randomly plummeted, right? It went from 24 sellers on April 8th to 0 sellers on April 12th, right? And that's a perfect example of the brand owner kicking people off the listing. Weirdly enough, it shows how many people either don't use Keepa or don't use Keepa correctly, and that we can see that a ton of people just restock this product immediately, which I definitely don't recommend doing. So if you ever see, the seller count humming along and then plummeting, you definitely want to avoid that, because that's a perfect example of an IP complaint product where the brand owner wanted to, avoid that. Now, SellerAmp does show IP warning on some items, and you do want to take a look at that. But the biggest determinant of whether or not an IP complaints happen on a specific product is going to be the Keepa chart and showing if there's IP complaints or not. We can see on this specific product, there totally is. And that's why you can't just look at the 90-day data, the 3-month data on Keepa. You have to be looking holistically at the past couple of years or even the all-time and see if there's any IP complaint history. Now, if you're established and getting a bunch of sales, is one IP complaint going to cause your account to get banned? Most likely not at all, but you still want to be, make sure you're within the rules of IP complaints and just avoiding them as much as possible. All right, next type of item you want to avoid, guys, is going to be listings where there is price tanking, where the competition is shooting up and the price is shooting down. We can see on this specific product back in October, November, there were 19, 20 sellers. Then it shot up to 27 to 29 sellers right here. And the buy box price went from 33 all the way down to 25, right? So if there's a bad trend on an item, which is the offer count going up and the price going down, it's unfortunately probably going to continue unless it's some sort of exclusive deal. You are going to learn the supply chain really well over time. That Yankee Candle, sometimes there's really good sales that only happen every so often. So theoretically, you could buy an item if you're super profitable and buy a bad trend of it right there, because it'll most likely reverse. But in general, for the most part, if the offer count's shooting up on a product and the price is shooting down, you definitely want to go ahead and avoid that item right there. On the flip side, an example of an excellent looking Keepa chart would be this, right? So we can see this item doesn't have a buy box. Don't necessarily avoid items that don't have a buy box, though. We can see this item, is going for around 31 in November and early December. And there are 15 to 13 sellers, and now there's only 2 sellers, and it's all the way up at 49, right? Now, I wouldn't go ahead and price this based off 49, but I could realistically go ahead and price it based off 34, 35, like it's been for several weeks here, right? And we can see the competition's also trending down. So, this is an excellent trend of a good Keepa chart here. We can see, right, it's literally the exact opposite of this item, that the competition's going down, price is going up. And on this item, the price is going down and the competition's going up, which we definitely want to take a look and avoid listings like that. All right, guys, a ninja sourcing method that no one's talking about, right? So we can see, so sure, beginner sellers can't sell Nike right now, so don't worry about selling Nike products. However, if we take a look down here, we can see on the year long on this item, we can see it was going for around $50 last February with 30 or 40 sellers. Right. And then a couple months later, there were literally no sellers on Amazon, or just a couple. And it was all the way up at $70 to $90. Now, the cool thing is Keepa gives us that data, so we can go ahead and actually take a look inside the storefronts of these sellers, these super smart people that sold at the peak, and find what other sellers they're carrying. So this is really good. Whenever you take a look at a Keepa chart and see that the product's totally popped off in the past, you can go ahead and storefront stalk, aka look inside the storefronts of those sellers to find other listings they have that sell quick and go ahead and track those items down profitably. So we can see this item absolutely skyrocketed in price and plummeted in competition. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to go here and hit data and then BuyBoxStatistics here. right? Just like we did taking a look at buy box stats, but a little bit more complicated here, right? And then once this loads, right, we can go ahead and take a look and see on the 365-day data, we can go ahead and filter to the top here, right? So go to 365 and then filter top to bottom. We can see, yeah, literally, like there's people that sold this at $80 here, right? And then what I can go ahead and do is just click open their store right here, just with the arrow, right? And then I can go ahead and copy this and go ahead over to SellerAmp and go to the SellerAmp homepage. And now I can actually go ahead and plug in these storefront names here to sas.selleramp.com. And now I can go ahead and storefront stock these sellers and find their fastest sellers and learn new brands, so on and so forth, and find other good products to carry from here, right? So we can see, yeah, like look at this, like 32 Degrees, pretty popular auto engate brand, right? So we can go ahead and use the buy box stats to storefront stock these sellers that sold this product or other products that have popped off at the peak and find their other good winning products, guys, right? And to summarize, the most important things you guys need to do is make sure your settings are correct here on SellerAmp and make sure you're only buying products that have good offer count movement here, and that you go ahead and edit your variations tab to match mine right here. You can just pause as you're going to have to like scroll over here, pull them over. It's very, very important right there. And that you're making sure you're looking at good offer count movement, right? So make sure all this stuff completely matches right here. Like I said, guys, Keepa is $20 per month and is super necessary to go ahead and manage your Amazon business. If you guys have any questions about Keepa, please let me know down below. And if you're this deep in this video, you should totally check out the free course. So you can see live product research and everything that goes into selling on Amazon, so you can find some winning products fast and get started making money with Amazon FBA ASAP in 2025. See you guys in the next one. Make sure to subscribe for more. Thanks so much.